All right, everybody. So today we're going to be dealing with something that not many photographers, if any, really mention. Now, we all know what f-stops are. F-stop is, f1.8, f2.8, f3.5, 5.6, f8, 11, 16, 24. Anyway, f-stop, how can I explain this? I guess at the very, very basics, it is a mathematical equation of the lens focal length divided by the actual opening, the diameter of the lens itself, or the diameter of the maximum diameter of the iris within the lens, or something around those lines. I'm not a mathematician, but basically, f-stop does not tell the whole story. It'll let you know how much blur you can get in your backgrounds when you shoot wide open, but the one thing it doesn't do is actually tell you anything about the exposure. For example, you can actually take a f1.8 lens from one manufacturer and then take an f1.8 lens, say they're both 50 millimeters. 51.8 from Canon, 51.8 from Nikon, another 51.8 from Sony, another 51.8 from Pentax or whatever, and every single one of them will actually have a different amount of light that's passing from the front element all the way to the rear element and then getting to the sensor. That's what's known as T-stops. Now, generally speaking, it's only cinematographers, like videography, Hollywood movie sets, stuff like that. They care about T-stops because that's actually letting you know how much light transmission is making it all the way through to the sensor itself. I'm going to give you an example of that using multiple lenses that all have the same aperture. The crazy thing is, every one of them will actually have a different exposure. I'll be using manual mode, and you'll see for yourself how much of a difference these things make. As far as I know, it's only Sony that does, on some G Master lenses at least, they do actually show what the T-stop value is. The T-stop is what you want to know. So a lot of people, they're like, oh, shooting in low light, I need f2.8. But that f2.8 isn't really 2.8. That's the thing, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So let's forget about f-stops. F-stops, man. And let's get into T-stops. Here we go. Okay, so to start it off, we're going to, I'm going to be showing you the Pentax DA 18135 WR. Pretty much everyone's favorite kit lens. And I'm going to be comparing that against the DA 1855 WR. Now, if you notice, they both show 3.5 to 5.6. So technically speaking, if you're going by f-stop as a measurement of how much light is getting through the lens, they should be identical. 3.5 to 5.6. Are they identical? Let's find out right now. Alright, so first up is the 1855 WR on my K3. And let's see what settings we have here. And just to show, I am shooting in manual, so I'm locking in all the settings. And we are at very perfect exposure in the center here. We are at 1/1600th of a second, f3.5 at ISO 100. So let's take a shot of that. And see the histogram. Yeah, it's a little overexposed in the sky, but that's not the point of this video. Now I'm going to mount the 18135 and dial in those settings. And if they are the same T-stop, then everything should be the same. And let's see what happens.
Okay, so now I've got the 18-135 mounted, still shooting in manual, and let's see what's happening here. So these lenses are pretty much the exact same t-stop. See if the histogram shows anything different here. Nope, pretty much the same. Again, sorry about the reflection and the angle and everything. That's interesting. So it looks like the 18-135 actually brought up some more shadow detail compared to the 18-55. Very interesting. See, histograms are a good thing to know and have. The angle of view is a little different too. Very interesting. Alright, well, now I'm going to do the 51.8 versus Takumar 55 1.8. Let's see what happens there. Okay, so I have the Super Takumar 1.8 mounted here on the K3, and I'm shooting at 1.8. And let's do some open aperture metering here. So green button, see what it's saying. So that is 1/1600th of a second, ISO 100. I know over here it doesn't show the f stop, but that's because it's manual aperture and I am at 1.8. Alright, the sun's starting to come out a bit, so let's reevaluate. And I find that interesting. So that's 1/2500th of a second at 1.8, which to me means the 1855 and the 18-135 actually have better light transmission than the Takumar. They are more modern lenses, but I guess it makes sense. However, in regards to shadows, I mean, this is actually a more even exposure. That's actually pretty good if you're looking strictly at the histogram here. Alright, nothing's pushed off to the right, nothing's pushed off to the left. Pretty much dead even. Alright, well, let's throw on the 51.8 and go to f1.8 and see what happens. Okay, so now I have the 51.8 set up here, and again, shooting in manual. Now let's take a look. Alright, so I am in f1.8 here, as you can see, at 1/2500th of a second, ISO 100, and seems to be, it is very, very, very slightly overexposing compared to the Takumar. So what does that translate into? Not much. Alright. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So just pretty much dead even. Pretty much dead even. Alright. Now, let's see what happened with the between this and the Takumar. Mind you, the Takumar, it is a 55. So it is a little closer in focal length here. But yeah. So basically what this tells me is the following.
When Pentax creates lenses, their standards are very exacting. The f-stop is pretty close to the actual t-stop. There's no difference between any of the lenses. So there you have it. You'll see me on my next video. Peace!